Hello and welcome to my Britain's Got Talent Series 19 Week 1 auditions recap and review. My name is Martin Ahomey, content creator and the host of Martin Ahomey's Recap and Review podcast, where I talk about TV, music, celebrities, and so much more. If you're listening to this on Spotify, it's your first time tuning into my podcast, please, excuse me, download the episode, follow the podcast, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything when a new episode is dropping. Or if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything when an upload is on the channel. And remember, you can always follow me on my social media platforms, which is my Instagram at Martin Ahomey and my YouTube channel, which is Martin Ahomey. All of it is available in the thumbnail of the podcast if you're listening on Spotify. So, Britain's Got Talent is officially back for Series 19 and for another year of unbelievable talent. And honestly, I'm so happy that it's back this year. I loved last year. It was a great year last year. And this episode last night was absolutely superb. We had so much variety this episode, which was so refreshing to see. And honestly, it was just an absolutely fantastic first episode. We have Anton Dekel back. We have Amanda, Alicia, Simon, KSI, but also Stacey Solomon's going to be on the panel as a guest throughout the series, which we'll find out in the next few days, the next few weeks or so, hopefully. But I cannot wait for this year already. It just looks incredible. And we had, of course, our golden buzzer this week, and which was absolutely. I'm not going to give too much away until we talk about it, but all I can say is this week was a fantastic first episode, and if this is how it's going to go for this series, I can't wait to see what the upcoming week is going to bring, because I think this could be one of the best years talent wise, and I'm all here for it. So yeah, so any further ado, let's just get straight into this week's review. So kicking off, we had back-to-back two pretty awful acts. So the first one we had was the chicken, and basically it was just someone dressed up as a chicken costume and then just walking around the stage, basically, and that got buzzed off. And then we had Noah Kelly with these horns doing it to ABT but by Bruno Mars, and again that wasn't very great, to be honest. So they both got eliminated and didn't get through to the next round. So let's just not talk about these acts at the moment. Let's talk about the real stars of the show. Starting off with the first proper act of the night to go through, that was Li Wei Hang, who is a juggler, a unique juggler from Taiwan, which is awesome. And according to her on the wiki, she made it to the quarterfinals of France's Got Talent on season 19. So was that last year or the year before? I'm not too sure, but I think it was close quite to the time there. And so basically, what she did was she juggled both. So basically, she did juggling, but it was with her feet, basically. So a foot juggling in a way, which with fire in it. So basically, she started off with a pot where she put flames on, and then she started juggling with her feet, which was so impressive, especially because of the heat that was coming with her. And then she did it with a table, which her husband helped her with the act, and she even did it with like fire sticks that she was doing at the same time, which was mind-blowing. I was blown away by this act here, and honestly, I this was just so kind of like I was just blown away with the whole thing. So Simon mentioned that it was quite incredible. He's never seen anything like it, and Alicia said that it was visually stunning, but at the same time really thrilling and really dangerous and really different, which I completely agree with those judges comments there, because on the wiki it only shows a few of the judges' comments in a way, which is fine though, which is it's completely okay. But I completely agree with what the judges said here, because this was absolutely sensational. And you know me, I love seeing jugglers on the show, and I love seeing variety. And this was right up my street throughout the whole routine. And yeah, it was just so refreshing to see, so entertaining, and the danger element she added into the audition made it even more better. And just, I was absolutely blown away by this performance. I think she could go very far in the competition, and I'm so excited to see what she brings in if she makes the next round, because if the semi-finals at least. But my goodness me, this was a fantastic performance here to properly kick off the night. And again, it was just spellbinding. I had goosebumps. It was just mind blowing, absolutely phenomenal, and I cannot wait to see what she brings on in the next round. Now we go on to the person who didn't go through, which was John Danbury, who is a both a singer and a magician, and he is from Huddersfield, age 51, and he's worked as an entertainer. He was working as an entertainer, and he basically so what he did was he sang "That's Life" by Frank Sinatra, a great song, while he did a bit of sleight of hand with a £20 note, seemingly summoning confetti by fanning a hand fan, which was pretty interesting. And I wasn't a massive fan of this performance per se. So KSI mentioned that he didn't think he liked it that much, and the magic was kind of mid. And Alicia mentioned if he could ramp up the magic, then it could have been something really good. And I agree with the judges, because I don't think the magic and the singing worked together whatsoever. I mean, he had a good voice. There's no denying he had a very good singing voice, and I think had he just stuck with the singing, I think it would have been better. But the magic didn't really work with the routine with the rest of the routine. So it's just like it kind of lost me. But the singing was pretty good. So I'm definitely not denying the singing there, but the rest of the performance I wasn't a massive fan of him personally. But he gave it his all. I'm sure he seems very nice, and yeah, I've good on him for doing what he did. And I mean, it wasn't terrible by any means. It just for me, it just didn't really work with the magic and the singing together. I mean, the singing was good. If he just did the singing, that would have been totally fine. But it sadly didn't go quite the way as he hoped for, which is of course unfortunate. But yeah, but good on you, John. Thank you very much for doing BGT this year, as you were a joy to listen to, a joy to watch this series. Even though you weren't on the first, even though you were on the first episode and didn't make it through, you were still a joy to watch. Now we have probably my favorite act of the night for this week. And if you saw my ranking on my YouTube channel, which by the way I will do a little thing in the comment section about it, because I'll have a Google folder to my rankings this year. If anyone can't see it, if it's blocked in the UK, which I'll talk about a bit later on. But anyways, let's talk about for me the act which I thought was the best act of the night for me, and that was Fraser Penman, who is a magician and illusionist from Glasgow in Scotland. He's aged 31, and he is a support worker, and he was born with albinism. Albinism, I can't pronounce it, which is basically the main contribution factor towards his pale skin tone, light hair, and his eye colors. So, of course, a very sad thing as well, which I think is something he had growing up. So let's talk about his audition, because my goodness me, I was hugely, hugely. Oh, excuse me. I was massively impressed with this performance. Like, he blew me away with this routine. So basically, he asked Simon to recollect a memory which that had a profound impact on his life growing up, and then he tasked him to with thinking of a name associated with the memory before locking eyes with Simon. With Simon's eyes closed upon him, asking him to close them before writing the initial on a blackboard. He had a blackboard and he wrote the letter down, and then he had Simon to think of the object associated with that memory, and he wrote it down, folded up in a piece of paper that was written on, and then and which Simon said it was W, and it was indeed W. Excuse me. And then he had Amanda to just sneeze there. So Amanda then Amanda was asked to retrieve a dictionary from his school bag and turn the 55th page in the dictionary to place her finger on its first column and count down 7 words from there. And then he had Simon to reveal the person and the memory, which was later to, and of course that was Mr. Wilson telling his pupils about holding on to the handbars as they rode a bicycle down the hill, and then it was later revealed Simon was the word, bicycle was the word Simon was thinking, which Amanda had her finger on, which was mind blowing. I was literally gobsmacked when that happened. My jaw literally dropped. I was like, how did he do that? Like I was just gobsmacked. And so Amanda mentioned it was unbelievable. She didn't think they had been surprised like even more like that. Ever been more surprised like that? And KSI mentioned, what could he say? It's impressive, and he has superpowers. And also, Amanda said that he is someone that would be great at the Raw Variety performance, and I totally agree with. I completely agree with what Amanda said and the rest of the judges said here, because not only, I mean, first, I loved this whole act. I loved his storytelling, but also I was just left mesmerized with the whole routine. Like, he was phenomenal, and he has this stark quality to him, which I think is so refreshing, which we don't see in many magicians nowadays. But he has that kind of glow to him, which is just fascinating. And oh my gosh, this was absolutely mind blowing to watch, and I think he left me speechless. This for me was the best act of the night. Even I may be a little bit biased here, but I cannot. But I will have to say, but I was just blown away by the whole performance. It really was just absolutely unbelievable. And honestly, seeing how well magicians have done over the years in terms of how well they've done, I honestly think he could go very far in the competition. I could already see him being a potential finalist, because I think he has that star quality to him. And can you imagine what he could be able of doing in the live shows? I can already imagine it being fantastic. So honestly, I cannot wait to see what he brings next time, because I think he's got the potential to go from here to all the way to up there. And honestly, I think this guy could be a star already. And I'm already rooting for him to go all the way already. I thought he was absolutely fantastic, and he would have been my personal golden buzzer of the episode. Next up, we have Dog Axe, Dom, and Ninja, who are a Dog Act, of course, and are they from Poland? I don't know where they're from. It didn't say on the wiki here. But if you know me, I love seeing Dog Acts. And I loved this, So, and it was a parkour themed act as well. And I love parkour, love dogs, so it blended so well together. So Dom and Ninja, they did a parkour style themed routine. So they started off in outside, where they did some like stuff near the Blackpool Tower before heading into the theatre, the Winter Public Gardens, the Winter Gardens Theatre in Blackpool, where they have the auditions in the Blackpool this year. And they had basically Ninja did some like parkour themed routines with the like bit of not boxes, but the thingies that were there. And I absolutely loved this whole routine. Amanda mentioned it was absolutely fantastic, but KSI was a bit more critical than the rest of the judges. He mentioned that the entrance was fantastic, and then that was it for him, and he just wanted more. Which, to be honest, I don't fully agree with KSI. I love KSI, but I don't really agree with him here, because, and also Simon mentioned to him, oh, do you have any dogs at home? And he was like, oh, I have cats. I was like, okay. And then the audience started booing him, and then KSI was like, oi, stop booing my cats, which was pretty funny. And that's why I love KSI, because he's just so funny. I love KSI. This is why he's one of my favorite panelists of all time. He's just an absolute breath of fresh air. But I disagree with what because I love seeing dog acts on the show, and I honestly really enjoyed it. I thought the first half of the performance was really cool, seeing it being done outside, then being brought into the theater for the rest. And again, I just think that I could definitely see the audience get behind these guys. I don't know if this is an act that could make the live shows, but again, I still absolutely loved the whole routine. It was just such a joy to watch. Again, I love seeing dog acts. I think that they always bring the huge smile to my face. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I think this was a very unique dog act. It's something I've never seen before. With parkour. And yeah, I really enjoyed the performance as a whole. I really liked it. Now we go on to a dance group here, which are LMA, who are from Liverpool. They're from Liverpool, and also the choreographer for this group is actually Sadiq Beraba, who is part of Murmuration. If you remember, for all you AGT fans out there, he was one of the members of Murmuration back in 2023 when they were on AGT back in 2023, and they got all the way to the final three, which I was a little bit shocked they got third place, to be honest, because even though I will say, especially in the who was in that top three that year, because I still think the top two should have been Pucci Ariani and the Ramadani brothers, but that's just my personal opinion. But enough of that. So basically, and all I have to say is that already I think we could be seeing potential winners of the show of how amazing these guys were. So they did a synchronized dance routine by solely moving their arms in the fashion of a clock and then a wave before all of them start opening and closing the jackets in unison. And let me tell you, this was spectacular. Like, in the words of Sofia Vergara, it was just mesmerizing. The whole performance here was absolutely breathtaking to watch. I could keep my eyes off the act. It was that amazing. So Amanda mentioned that they have seen so many dance groups that come onto the stage that promise us difference, and they never are. But this was different and exceptional, and it gets as it gets. And she mentioned that they raised the bar high. And KSI mentioned that it's the type of dance that you can't make a mistake. If one person's out, that basically everything falls apart. But they did that in absolute perfection. And I don't know what to say other than I completely agree with the judges here. This was absolutely phenomenal. And if you guys remember, I mentioned in my trailer debrief with when I talked about the trailer with some of the acts with Tom on my most recent BGT episode, we talked about this, and Tom mentioned that it looked epic, and for his words, it was epic. It was absolutely outstanding. I mean, if there was ever a word in the dictionary, not to reference Fraser here, but if there was ever a word in the dictionary to describe the word perfection, that would be it right there. That would be it. It was out of this world. I mean, the synchronicity, the unison of the whole routine left me mesmerized. And in a way, I was a bit shocked that they didn't get the golden buzzer, because this was something that was worthy of a golden buzzer, to say the least. And it was just absolutely astounding. I was just outstanding, absolutely astounding. I think these guys already could be front runners to win the whole thing. I've yet to see the betting odds on this year, so once the betting odds are out, I will definitely make a little update thing. But I think these guys already could be contenders to win the whole thing already, and and I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what these guys bring in the next round, because I think they already have serious potential. And yeah, it was just absolutely perfection at its finest. Now, next up, we have Chance Oshiro, who is a Japanese novelty act comedian from Japan, age 50 years old. And I mean, we've had many kind of Japanese comedy acts over the years, so this is not even a shock to all of us at this rate. So so basically what he did was he made sounds of a cuckoo clock, an angry cat, an F1 car, a car wiper, an eagle, and joint crack with his mouth, which and the noise of a toilet plunger, a frog, and noise with his back while playing the recorder at the same time. And all I can say is that Japan, where do you find all these random acts like from Japan? Like, I don't get like honestly, if there's anyone from Japan who's watching this or listening to this episode, watching the video, please let me know down below, where do you find these Japanese comedy acts from? Like, I'm actually very interested. So, KSO questioned that if they had lost their minds, and Simon mentioned that he thought everything sounded the same. And I mean, I don't know how this act made it through, to be honest, because this was just so stupid. But it's BGT. It's acts like this that are stupid. So it's just like, like it's not even a surprise anymore on how stupid these kind of acts are. They just are. Oh god, I just again, these acts are just so stupid. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, I really can't. So all I'm gonna say is just I've got nothing else to say other than it was just so random. But anyways, let's just move on now to the golden buzzer for this episode, which was given, and it was Simon's golden buzzer given to Paul Nunari, who is a aerialist, who is also known as the other Superman. That's one of his nicknames, but he went on as Paul Nunari, and he's from Sydney, Australia, age 52, and he was a para athlete. And he is a para athlete, so he's in a wheelchair. He's an athlete, and he mentioned that his act was pretty unique, and he mentioned if he believed he could win. He mentioned last stop over in Abu Dhabi was way too painful for me not to win, so he's winning. A brilliant answer there. And so also he was on Australia's Got Talent back in 2013, and he made the final. Then in 2018 he acquired the Guinness World Record for the most 360 rope rotations in a wheelchair in 1 minute, by achieving 77 rotations, which is quite a lot. But so basically, he had. So as he went off stage, we had this rope, this big old red silk coming down, and I was thinking to myself, if he's doing what I think he's gonna do, I'm gonna be mind blown. So, and that's what he did. He did an aerial silk routine to Gladiator by Zane Wolf, initially doing it while sighted before, then pausing, and then he put a blindfold on his eyes, and he did the spinning in a circle, and you know, and oh my goodness gracious, this was mind blowing. Like this, honestly, I don't know. It's very rare for me to be speechless on the show, but I was absolutely gobsmacked with the whole performance. I just, I don't know what to say. So basically, Alicia mentioned that he's amazing. He will inspire millions and millions of people. KSI mentioned it's one of the best things he's ever seen. Then Simon mentioned it's one of the most incredible things he believed he had ever seen. He mentioned he's humble, he's so nice, so talented. And then after that, he pressed the golden buzzer for him, which was so well deserved. Like, this was such a well deserved golden buzzer. I mean, I was just left gobsmacked with that. I mean, if he just did it, if a normal person did that, it would have been incredible. But the fact he's in a wheelchair, just like he's disabled, he's in a wheelchair and able to do that is nothing short of astounding. That's the only word that comes to mind here. It was just as outstanding, and this was such a well-deserved golden buzzer, and I honestly think he has a shot of winning the whole thing. I know I said that as well with LMA, but also Paul right here. Like, for me, he is the definition of not letting your disability overtake your talent. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say this, but this is honestly one of the most incredible things I think I've ever seen on the show, and he did it with not only just such perfection, but the fact he's in a wheelchair, it makes it even more incredible. I mean, this was just out of this world. Such well deserved golden buzzer too, so well deserved, and yeah, that's what I can say. This was so well deserved. I think he has a chance of going really far in the competition, but maybe winning as well. I could see him winning, and could you imagine him at the Raw Variety? It would just be incredible, just incredible. I cannot wait to see what he does next in the semi-finals, because I've got no doubt he's going to blow us away once again. And finally, we have probably the most anticipated act throughout the whole series, which that I found out, before the series started, when they filmed this in Stanley Park in October, and that is the drone show, which is called Celestial, who are a drone show group. They're from Somerset and aged 20 into 42, and they mentioned that they've been working together for 5 years alongside they how they've been working on something daily for 2 to 3 months, and they all went. And so of course they mentioned that in 19 series they had never seen anything like this before, and they were at Stanley Park for this audition, which is where it took place. And there's also this performance made history as the largest ever drone show in the UK, given how it required 800 drones. You heard me right, folks. 800 drones. A lot of drones, I tell you. So the audience were at Stanley Park, the judges, Anton Deck were there. And they did a drone tribute to Great Britain, including drone varieties of a star. So basically had a start at the beginning to All You Need Is Love by the Beatles, a great song. Then they did a countdown, and then there was one with James Bond, Freddie Mercury to Don't Stop Me Now. We had the King's Guard, the Big Ben, and a voiceover of King Charles play with the Blackpool Tower, accompanied with a Union Jack with the words written, "Britain is great, essential as Proud by Heather Small was playing in the background." Excuse me. And all I have to say is that this was just, I remember watching this live last night and I was just mesmerized by the whole performance. It was absolutely breathtaking. And so Amanda mentioned that she felt emotional because of the music, the sentiment. Excuse me. And then Alicia mentioned it's one of the most beautiful feeling, to the point that you forget that it's drones and you're thinking of how proud you are to be in our country. And it was just remarkable. It was stunning. Honestly, I'm honestly dead serious when I say this, but this is honestly one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my life. Not only Got Talent, but in my whole lifetime. Like, I love seeing drone acts on the show I love seeing drone acts on YouTube. They're just so fascinating, and the amount of work and dedication that they have put into this routine, into this thing, must have taken hours and hours and hours and hours. It was just absolutely just. And even Simon said if they can do that again, they have a shot of winning the whole thing, which I completely agree. I honestly think I could totally see these guys winning the whole thing as well. And just honestly, it was just so, like, in a way, it just felt like a tribute to Britain, and it was in the best way possible. It was just so fascinating. The whole routine was incredible, and it just shows that even drones can be incredible. It could be incredible, and they really were. It was absolutely just breathtaking, to say that. I don't know what I'm saying now. It's just absolutely breathtaking, to say the least. And I honestly think these guys could go very far in the competition. They could. I could already see them being like Sky Elements and making it very far. Being potential finalists as well. But I cannot wait to see what they bring in the live shows. So, now we're at this point of the podcast episode where I talk about my BGT draft. So every single week after these reviews, I'm going to be sharing you my weekly draft, showcasing the acts, how far I think they will make it, and it's the ones that made it through to the deliberation stages. So for the finalists, I have Fraser Penman, Paul Nunari, LMA, and Celestial as finalists right now. I have Leeway and Dominic Ninja as semi-finalists, and I have Chance Oshiri as a deliberation act elimination. So, of course, this will change over the course of the next few weeks, and on a week that we don't get a BGT episode, I'll probably do an episode here on the podcast talking about my favorite acts of the series before talking about my my early picks and predictions, which will probably be around, I want to say, like auditions after auditions 5 or after audition 6, between those audition stages. But I cannot I cannot wait for what the series has to bring, because it already, excuse me, like, this series already looks absolutely incredible. And tonight, at least for the variety, it was absolutely phenomenal. I could already see four finalists so far this year, and I cannot wait to see what else the series brings this year, because it just looks incredible. And I just cannot wait to see how the rest of the series plays out. So that is my review for week 1 of Britain's Got Talent Series 19. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who are your favourite acts, and did you think we had the right golden buzzer? I'd love to hear your thoughts below. And honestly, again, this was a fantastic premiere episode. So great. And again, the variety this week for this first episode was off the scale. And after seeing the preview for next episode, if we have that same level, I think we're gonna have one of the best series of all time. Sorry for the hiccups, but honestly, I cannot wait to see how the rest of the series plays out in terms of the acts. But anyways, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And remember, if you're listening on Spotify, please consider to download the podcast episode, follow my podcast, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything when a new episode is dropping. But once again, thank you so much for listening to my review of BGT 2026 Week 1 auditions, and of course, I will see you guys next time.